everyone that if they have not watched Radhika Gupta's talk on the girl with the broken neck, please immediately after this session, remember, please go and download it and watch it. It is just one of the most inspiring things I've heard and seen in a long time. So welcome, Radhika. But today we'll start off with some questions about the state of the economy and the poor middle class that's really squeezed. Where does the middle class go? I mean, first we were told invest in real estate. Then we were told, okay, no, invest in mutual funds. Then we were told, forget all that, just go back to, investing in FDs. And that's something that my mother could have told you a long time ago as well. So really, especially in this environment, where does the middle class go? Where does it invest? If it has money to invest.
And everybody, I think, Kaveri, has money to invest. Now, for some people, that money could be 100 rupees. For some people, that money could be lakhs. And whether it's 100 rupees or lakhs, the fact is it needs investment. Firstly, I would say that I understand it is a difficult time, but I also think we make it more difficult than it is, as Indian retail. And some of the things break my heart because honestly, I come from a middle class family. My father worked in government and we work very hard to earn our money as Indians. Yeah. Life is not easy. We work very hard to earn our money. I do believe that, what holds us back is we don't work as hard to let our money grow for us. And that is something I think we need to consciously start doing. Now, you alluded to a point that first we were told gold is good, then we were told mutual fund is good, then we were told FD is good. I don't think that's it. I think all three of them are good. And I think the formula for good investing doesn't change season to season. Now, what happens is, and what the middle class I think isn't feeling, and I'd love to hear from you guys on how you think about this, is that of course they feel like if they had invested in, and I'm a mutual fund professional, if I had invested in the stock market, I probably feel, I lost 20 to 30%. So what happened if I invested in the stock market? That's probably one feeling. I hear some bad news about some mutual funds, without going into specifics, and we can talk about that. So I feel bad about that. I feel like I put money in debt mutual funds. Oh, I should have put it in an FD. So all this stuff happens. I would tell you that all this stuff should not cloud your judgment because while there are bad markets, there are good markets. The US has had in the last 100 years of its existence, 50 years of the US economy have been spent in recession. Yet the 50 years of the US economy have been spent in recession. But since 1970, the US stock market has delivered 10% year a year. So where there is good news, there is bad news, and where there is bad news, there is good news. And I think for us as middle class, the challenge is also to take middle path. It is very important to have a middle path to investing. You can't be super excited at the highs. You can't be super depressed at the lows. So in the great times, achhe din aa gaye, all this stuff starts. And then in the bad times, the world is going nowhere. Indian economy ka kuch nahi ho sakta hai, all that starts. We have to have a far more balanced perspective. And I think when you look at the market and mutual funds through the average, actually it is not so bad. So I noticed a balanced perspective on this.
I noticed, Radhika, you didn't mention real estate. That's an investment that has really tanked for a lot of people, hasn't it?
So I look at real estate, and there's a reason I didn't mention it. Now that you come to it, I look at investments in two parts. I look at financial investments and physical investments.
Right. And
to me, real estate is a physical investment. Now, the thing about physical investments is, if I need the money today, I can't liquidate it. Much as you want, you can't liquidate that property you bought in Noida or Alibag or wherever that's today. So I don't think you should compare your financial investments, your bank deposits, your mutual funds to your physical investments. And by the way, the other mistake we make is our physical investments also go down in value. The fact is
Exactly.
that if I had to do a daily valuation of your house and tell you every day, Kaveri, your house is 100 rupees, now it's become 80 rupees, and then publish that on WhatsApp and do some analysis, you would feel as stressed about your house as you would about your mutual
I'd be very depressed.
But the fact is, I don't do a daily valuation of your house, and I can't do a daily valuation of your house. So you have to. So there are good sides to this daily valuation, which is when I need my mutual fund money, I can get it back. But when I need my money from my house, I can't get it back. So there are good and bad sides to it.
You can also sell the house online now.
Ah.
Why not?
But what do you do when you don't have much disposable income, which is the problem now with a lot of people? People are losing jobs, people, are taking salary cuts, they're eating into their savings. What do you do then?
So I think there are two approaches, Kaveri, that one should have. I will talk about people who have jobs, and then I will talk about general. So I think for people who have jobs, you need to, and especially to the young people listening to this, you need to get into the habit of saving. And after saving comes investment. Now, even if you earn 10,000 rupees a month, say that is your monthly salary.
Yeah.
You need to start saving an amount. Now, whether that is 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees, you please decide. I often tell young people and people in their early 30s, you pay taxes, you don't protest about paying taxes. So you also think of saving as a tax and say, "Ki har mahine 10% I am going to save, come what may." There are lots of tools to do automatic savings. I come from the industry where SIPs are most popular. I actually don't do SIPs for returns. I do them for the discipline कि मेरी salary आएगी, कुछ ना कुछ कट जाएगा. I will take some money and then it will go to a corpus, and one day I will have something saved away for a rainy day. If you are a salaried professional, please get into the habit of monthly saving. Once you start saving, you will start investing, and money builds on money, and you start feeling a little more comfortable. So I think that.
Kaveri, let me ask, because a very interesting question, because she's encouraging savings, and savings in India are going down now from 34% to 26%, 25%. You must be knowing about it. You see, environment in this country, the middle class was saving for making more money for the future.
Yeah.
And what I call the global market mafia, which made the domestic saving much more cheaper and divert the money from savings to investment. Investment means the stock market where the promoters make money, not the saver. The question is, then when the provident fund was the best way of saving, where I was getting about 12%, my salary is cut and I get 12% of the employees, and then I'm getting 9% thereof. That you have taken away means, I don't mean you, but the mafia has taken that away. Force the government to reduce the rates, interest rates, and give tax-free income to the stockbrokers. That was how 91 reform started. I have invested some money. I'm not a usual stock investor, but I have invested some money more for my grandchildren. My investment has not grown as much as the investment of my promoter. I'm not giving names, all those big companies, for example, who were 20,000 crore rupees 20 years ago worth, they are about $5 trillion now. Their 2% shares are sold for $1 trillion. But my share, which I bought from them, has not gone up that way. So it means the whole saving system has been to take the money from the middle class, invest in the people who make money out of it. My money is being diverted to promote the promoters, and I am getting pittance. That's why people are now lost in the stock market, because your retail investment, if you look at it, is very hardly 2%, 3%.
Yeah.
It is all promoters mafia.
So, Prabhu, here I would disagree a little with you. So there are good companies and bad companies. I absolutely agree. There are promoters who are good. There are promoters who are not good. There are great companies that have made wealth also. I mean, if you look at some of the HDFC basket, etc., they have made wealth. There are two challenges. One is, that a lot of people are feeling that sense of disappointment that you are feeling today, looking at their returns. They pick up their phone and they look at their portfolio and they're like, I haven't made much money.
Yeah.
I want to give you a small analogy for this. It is a little, and then they say the same thing that you would have said, कि मैं FD में डालता तो मैं ज़्यादा पैसे कमाता. Right? That is a, now you are...
I didn't mean FD, but FD में पैसा मिलता है, मिलता था. I'm just saying what I'm making so that middle class people or young people are listening to it, that they want to have a safe return, maybe less. Question is, the stock markets are becoming much more speculative. You have got National Stock Exchange, which is involved in so many controversies. They control, some people control it. There is controversy about that. There are 50 top exchanges, their basket changes, how they change it, nobody knows about it. And you look at top 15 stocks out of that, out of 5,300 companies which are listed in the market, traders are how many? 500 are not trading every day. So it means those 500 are playing around with it. Average I'm talking about. Maybe somebody there 800, somebody is
this. I think equity markets, Prabhu, with all due respect, are actually quite well developed. And I think even if you look at retail investors today, for instance, I'll give you a statistic. Our SIP book, which is the contribution of ultimately middle class Indians today, is about 8,500 crores a month. And even in the last 2 years of this number has not changed. It has only grown. The challenge that people have is two. One, as you said, and I agree, you're looking for a safe investment. Equity is a volatile investment. And promoters who've held for 20 years have made money. Shareholders who've held for 20 years have made money. So I have a mid-cap fund. I think it was launched in 2007. Uska price 10 tha. The current price is probably 30. So if you did hold it, you have made money. But if you're looking for safety, equity is not your safe asset class, because in equity, if you're expecting 10, you will not get 10. You will get 10 on average, but you will get plus 30 and minus 20. Then when minus 20 happens, you will say, I am not making as much as an FD, and then you will want to redeem from equity. I almost say that, if Kaveri was working for you and she did a great job, she was one of your best employees, and you had to do her appraisal. But there was 1 month she had that was a really bad month. Her mother had a problem. She had a fight with her husband. But what if you, Prabhu, did Kaveri's appraisal only basis that 1 month of performance, even though she had worked with you for the whole year? I think when you evaluate equities after a 30% market correction and COVID, which has been one of the biggest economic events in our history, it is a little unfair. So you should not look at stock markets at the top. You should not look at stock markets at the bottom. You should look at them at the average. Like, don't evaluate Kaveri in her best month and her worst month. You have to evaluate her on an average, right? Because that is what ultimately she is. I think the other challenge is that people need to find safe.
Radhika, I'm looking at the promoters' real wealth, personal wealth, how it has grown over the years. If I give, the name, if I start reading out the name, their personal growth, which they've got, some company which owes about 1,50,000 crore to the bank, his promoter has got 80,000 crore rupees cash in his bank. So that money is tax free. Obviously, they're buying from my money, making money and keeping in their own company, then buying from that money private assets. I'm not getting into that controversy, but they could talk 100 people. Somebody has done a research. They made about 3,000% in 10 years. They just list the market and make the money tax-free. Now, of course, it taxed a little bit, but long term it's still not taxed. So I'm saying where the saving where middle class like me or retiring person like me who earns a return, where does he go?
I think for a middle class investor, genuinely, and I know I carry a bias because of my profession, I think the equity market has been fair to a middle class investor, but you have to have fair expectations of it. अभी आप उसमें 5 से 7 साल से पहले return expect करोगे तो I think it is an unfair expectation.
Long term, you may play long term basically.
You have to play long term because ultimately, see, the promoter you're talking about who's made money has made money by investing in the business for 20 years. He has quarters, by the way. A lot of my friends come from business families or run businesses today. They have quarters, by the way, where the business is shutting down, where they are funding the business out of. It is not an easy time. So think of someone running a hotel business, an airline business, an entertainment business, many businesses. So they have bad quarters. But they are not shutting down. So I keep telling business people that a promoter who is having a bad quarter, he is not shutting down his business because of a bad quarter, right? He is holding on, he's continuing to run your business. But you as a shareholder in his company, because he has 3 bad months, then you want to disappear, then he's taking the risk and he's being compensated for it. There is also a need, as Prabhu said, for safer products in the debt market, FD type products.
Yeah.
So that I think is important. I think debt mutual funds were brought in to cater to that need. We've had some misfires, but some of us are working on solutions. With the government, we did Bharat Bond last year. Prabhu, you know about that launch. That was meant to give middle class India a safe tax alternative, to FDs. So I think there are options coming up, but I think financial education also needs to go up in this category. One of the things I realize is we as an industry make it very complicated for you all to understand, and we have to know.
That's the problem because
I agree with you entirely.
We have to make it much easier for you to understand. And that only.
Yeah, you have to tell me Bharat bond, if I buy for 1,000 rupees, how much you will get, or my children will get, or grandchildren will get 5 years later.
Is that.
You have to put a table on the on the screen. This is what you are going to get.
In fact,
how much is the hidden tax burden in that you must also disclose.
Exactly. So you need to do that. I mean, one of the nice things I like about this is if you go to the website bharatbond.in, it's a rate of return. It changes every day. Agar aap 2023 loge, it will mature in April 2023, and this is what you'll get. So you need that. And I think that clarity needs to come in. So I think we have a lot of work to do in simplification. That is my big learning through the lockdown.
Radhika, one question which I think I should ask you, that mutual funds are almost bombing these days. Credibility is low, whatever the reason, because of economic conditions or not. What do you think? Is there a future? You think you are hopeful? Bharat bond is a different, it's a ESG bond basically. But normally the mutual fund market is after Templeton breakdown and whatnot. There is a crisis of credibility.
Well, I think, Prabhu, it's a good question. I'm glad. I mean, I was expecting this question. So I think there are paths to the mutual fund market. And I'll be very honest, I think the equity part of the market has been okay this time. In fact, never through this last 2 years have we seen people net taking out money. Every month net, Indians are adding money to equity mutual funds. And I'll tell you why, because I think they have gone through 2008. See, we are all new to this. We are a young country as far as we need to learn from mistakes. So we made a lot of mistakes. In 2006-07, Prabhu, if you were an average company with poor corporate governance, you would list on the exchange and people would flock to give you money. That doesn't happen in equities today because people have realized if you are a bad promoter, people don't give you money. In debt, I think this is the first time we've learned the lesson. Franklin is an unfortunate episode. I agree. And I think our industry will take some time to recover from it. What I would tell people who are listening is that Franklin dealt with, or this particular mutual fund in question, dealt with a set called credit, which is lending to sort of lower credit quality companies, essentially borrowers where the risk of money coming back is a little higher. 97% of the mutual fund industry does not do that. So I would only say don't paint all of us with the same brush. The step on us is to build back credibility. I completely agree. I believe when you say the word mutual fund sahi hai is a big deal. And you have to live sahi hai every day. I think it's a very deep word. So I think it is a chance for us to rebuild. I must tell you that the Indian consumer to GDP ratio in this country is 4%. Mutual fund to GDP is 4%. The world average is 40%. So we have a long way to go. Long way to go, which is why I continue to be optimistic. And I think each crisis will teach us to create smarter products. As I said, Bharat Bond and many others being one of them.
What has this crisis taught you, Radhika, in terms of what are the products that a really stressed middle class will need going forward?
So firstly, I think the middle class needs to stop chasing glamour. Investing the stock market is portrayed by media and film to be a very glamorous business. I think they need to chase simple dal chawal of investments.
Right.
80% of your portfolio has got to be dal chawal. I think on the average middle class person probably needs two things. He needs one simple stock market mutual fund product that invests in the top 200 companies of India. He does not need anything else. And, he should hold that for 7 to 10 years and he'll be fine. The other part of it, his portfolio, he can do FD, he can do PPF, or he can do some of these safe debt products, Bharat Bond being one of them. That is it. इससे ज़्यादा एक average middle class को करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. The returns you make in investments, Kaveri, are not in the products you choose. It is in the behavior you exhibit. If you save every month, if you invest it sensibly, if you don't chase what your neighbor and your friend are doing, believe me, you will make a lot of money. And if you stick through the good and bad times, you will make money. Choosing X fund versus Y. So I get a lot of queries on social media. Ma'am, should I choose this fund or that fund? That discussion doesn't make you money. Holding on makes you money. Saving makes you money.
But how do you hold on in an environment where you need to eat into your savings, where your salary is possibly much reduced, or you've lost your job? How do you do that?
So when you plan your money, you have to plan your money in 3 buckets, because there are times when you lose jobs, when income is uncertain, then you have to dip into your savings. It happens in good times, by the way. You need to start a business. I was an entrepreneur for years and we lived off our savings. I mean, I'll give you that example. So you should have, any average person should divide his money into 3 buckets. One is money that you don't need for 5-10 years, okay? Just money, and it can be a very small amount, but money that you want to put away. That you can take some risk where you put it in equities, you do all that. And there, because you don't need it in 5-10 years, if there is day-on-day fluctuation and it loses 20%, hopefully it should not cause you too much grief because you need it in 5 years and in 5 years it will do fine.
Right.
Then there is the opposite extreme, which is what I call contingency money. It is money that you should put in the safest products possible. And even in the best of times, that contingency money should not attract your greed. So that money does not go into the stock market. So that is money that needs to be there for a rainy day. That needs to be in a savings account. It needs to be in a liquid fund. It needs to be in a place where if I want it, I can access it right away and it does not take risk. A lot of people I have discovered in this crisis do not have a contingency fund.
Exactly.
And once you don't have a contingency fund, you get stressed.
Yeah.
Then you start thinking about that money that is actually 5-7 year money, and then you start thinking, "Mujhe isko nikalna hai." Then you see that you've lost 20%.
Right.
Then you get upset. And then there is a middle bucket of money. So there's a contingency bucket, a long-term bucket, and there's a medium-term bucket which you should invest in products that take some risk, but not so much risk. So that way, if you divide your money, I promise you, you will not be stressed.
I wish I'd listened to her at the beginning of my career.
You have a long career ahead, yeah. And a lot of
Radhika also, sorry, Mr. Chawla.
Radhika, there is a question which somebody sent me. Do you think the recent problem with some well-known NBFC and privately owned banks is acting as a dampener to fresh investment?
So, yes and no. There are good NBFCs in there, and I come from an NBFC parentage. There are good NBFCs and there are bad NBFCs. I must tell you that this has been an extraordinarily tough 2 years for the NBFC segment.
Will it be a dampener or not? That is the question I want to ask.
It's a dampener on the economy in the short term. And, ultimately, NBFC is the core of the economy. It lends to small businesses.
Correct.
Once the government takes care of NBFCs and really makes sure that system is vibrant, you will not have a vibrant economy. I mean, that's a short answer to your question.
Most of the scandals also happen in these NBFC. That is the problem.
No, I don't agree. I think there are issues that happen in all kinds of corporates. I mean, we've seen scandals in IT companies and we've seen scandals in NBFC. You've seen issues across the board. There are good managements, there are bad managements. I think it has come to light in NBFCs because of the environment. I mean, there was a period when this was happening. You had all kinds of issues. So I don't think you can single out that NBFC as a segment is entirely bad.
Radhika, do you see any green shoots, as people call them? Jargon that economists like to use. Is there any bright spot on the horizon? What is the economy looking like for you?
Well, I think, look, it is tough. And it is hard to assess the impact, Kaveri, because we don't even know how long the lockdown will last in India.
Right.
And the impact of the lockdown. So unlike an economy like China, which has come back to work almost completely, the other thing is, remember that we were already an economy in stress going into the lockdown, unlike the US economy, which was a very strong economy going into lockdown. I expect that there will be stress. The bright spots, I think there are 2 bright spots from an economic point of view. One is that interest rates are coming down and RBI has been taking action. So it will be cheaper and cheaper for businesses to borrow and hopefully come back on track. Secondly, oil prices have come down substantially. Right. And that is usually a very good thing for India because we are a net...
benefit has not been passed on to the consumers.
Consumers don't feel the benefit passed on to them, but net from a government point of view, from a government point of view, it is a good thing. I think those are green shoots. I think the biggest green shoot net is that, the spirit of the Indian entrepreneur. I mean, this is a little philosophical. The Indian entrepreneur has always managed to come out of crisis. I'll tell you an interesting and sort of more inspirational statistic. I read this somewhere. Do you know half of the companies in the Fortune 500 were created out of crisis?
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's right. I read it also.
Yeah.
Companies created. They must have bought over from somebody else. That's the Chinese are trying to do that.
Yeah, so there are people today,
crisis is always an opportunity to create something. Yeah, you're right.
And there are businesses being created right now. I mean, who would have imagined that Zoom would be what Zoom is?
Yeah.
Correct. And there's no competition. There's no competition as of now.
So if you look at, for instance, I mean, I run a fund that is focused on technology, right? Technology in the US. It's done phenomenally because companies like Microsoft, companies like Zoom, so many of these companies are big technology beneficiaries of crisis.
Right.
So
Is that bank doing well now?
which one?
The technology fund in US, which you are running?
Absolutely, because the NASDAQ, Prabhu, has done very well over this period, right? So technology has done well. Imagine we used to do all our events, all of us, in physical format, in banquet format. How many conferences did you guys host?
Yeah.
Now you're doing all this over Zoom. So clearly there is a winner that is also coming out of this crisis.
Right.
And I think that's something that we forget. So that to me is the biggest green shoot. That
Radhika, problem is that Radhika, there's a problem of liquidity. Everybody talking about liquidity. There's the liquidity crisis. If you are going for a fund in July, I hope you will do well like the last time you did it. But it all depends on the disposable income and the saving which are in the market. At the moment, now the earlier distributed model was that people are giving on credit. Now people have stopped giving on credit. They want cash everywhere. And cash is in short commodity now. How do you see the market picking up? Your fund how will it do? Because there's no liquidity in the market. Because actually, in hand, people are not getting money so far.
No, I agree with you, bro. So there is liquidity, but it's not being passed on to the right people. So banks are flush with money.
Banks are full of money.
Yeah, they have a lot of money.
Banks are flush with money. That money is not being passed down to NBFCs. That money then is not being translated into consumption. And obviously, people are facing the brunt of salary cuts, job cuts, etc. And that's why I said until you solve the NBFC issue, you hit some lifeline of the economy. Corporate surpluses we are seeing are significantly low. And I think it is a period of significant liquidity stress. I think Reserve Bank is trying different techniques to transmit money from the banking system to the rest of the system. Its effectiveness has to be seen over time. But the fact is the banks have a lot of liquidity. About a year ago, banks didn't have a lot of liquidity. Now banks have a lot of liquidity. It has to be transmitted forward.
I think I'll just go... Kaveri, I'll go back to jargon.
Yeah, sure.
Because of my economics. You see, 1991, when you may be in a college or a school at that time, Radhika, and at that time the model started supply side model.
Yeah.
Where all of you, the stock markets, the bankers, everybody was working in competition to give money to the industry to create the supply. On that supply side boom, you made a lot of money through stock market, mutual funds, and you forgot about how to create a sustainable demand model as well. Now you are facing a problem where there's a lot of supply, but no demand.
Yeah.
But you did not anticipate this Wharton School of General Economics or World Bank Economics or whatever I call it, Harvard School of Economics. But this mafia which has come from Harvard, because in Indian economic advisor, they have been coming to the revolving door. They come to the government as chief economic advisor, go back to the World Bank for America, then they come back again, the new government. Those revolving, these are all connected to each other. Demand, supply, you created excess supply. Because of that, the crisis is happening now. What is the way the demand has to be created? Therefore, the money will be there. No?
And I mean, I think if I had one recommendation and one thing that we haven't seen from a policy side is we need to give money for consumers to spend. You need to spur demand in this country. For instance, in the US, I think you're getting the equivalent of $900 a week.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money. That's actually
even England also. England also they're getting direct money.
Yeah.
And the amount of money is actually more money than people's normal state of income. So
in Norway, Radhika, they gave a €50 something to the voucher to a person to go to the restaurant and start eating. every person in Norway.
So हमारे यहाँ अभी, and I think the constraints in India are different. Of course, we don't have the balance sheet of the US economy. I would agree with you absolutely. But ultimately, you need to put money in people's hands so that if they don't buy a car, they at least start going out, eating something, spending something.
Right.
Now,
the other question I wanted to ask you, Radhika, just going back to your career, if you had to give up or if you had to come back to India now and start your forefront capital management, right? At this point, with what 25 lakh, and of course it grew to 200 crore later. But if you were to do that now, would you take that risk?
I would. And by the way, I know people who are doing it today. So, I mean, without taking names of people, I get surprised because there are new people creating financial services and money management businesses as we speak today. And they're putting in far larger investments than I could have afforded to put in human capital. Because they do realize that, listen, ultimately Indians will save and ultimately Indians will invest, and Indians are aspirational.
Right.
So if the right products are supplied to them, there is a market for that. And I think just like this is true of the investment business, this is true of many, many businesses today. So a lot of people are thinking about starting business. So there is, the poetry says, right, there is somebody, koi to chirag hai jo andhi mein chal raha hai. Always koi ye bhi insaan hai jo patthar pe bhi gulab khila raha hai, because he is thinking of the world that way. So I think both sides exist today. Some of the finest businesses, even in this country, are children of crisis.
Right. The other question I wanted to ask you, when you talked about certain sectors, you talked about certain sectors that are emerging. What are the sectors that you see are emerging, which are good bets for any startup or any entrepreneur now?
So I think one, sector by sector, this is a little hard to say. And I think if you're looking at this, if you're asking this question from the point of view of an entrepreneur, I think in entrepreneurship, having gone through this, the passion is far more important than the sector you're choosing.
Right.
I think there are great businesses on the digital side that will emerge, because a lot of we were a very physical, high-touch country. I mean, that is anything. I mean, there hasn't been a great local solution to Zoom yet.
Yeah.
There hasn't, with all the challenges around it, there hasn't been a great local solution to Zoom. So anything that is emerging, that is disruptive in the technology space, will be very, very exciting. So I think
things that are all about contactless dining or contactless, experiences. I suppose those are opportunities that people would invest in.
It's great content, because people are sitting at home. They are hungry for content. They are hungry for content to read. They are hungry for content to watch. So that, the traditional model of going out to the film, exactly. So content will be, another place. Anyone who's creating, and the edge a startup has, Kaveri, is they are small, they are nimble. They don't have a huge thing of cost. They can change quickly. So there are lots of ideas coming out there. Anyone who can create these small products and bring them to the consumers online, lots of stuff is happening.
Radhika, I will ask you a question. You see, this crisis will take time to recover from. What kind of sector you do see that will be booming after the lockdown is over?
Yeah.
Is there any ray of hope? Which are the specific sector you see do well? Because youngsters are looking for booming good news. Where is the good news now in this tragedy?
I don't think youngsters should be in a rush to find good news. And I should make a point, because everybody asks me this question about sectors, and then they think that they should go buy stocks of that sector.
No, we are talking sustainable. We are talking not about speculative stock, but about sustainable model.
People would do that. And I did an exercise. So I said that what if every year you bought like the favorite sector, the most hot topic that everybody was talking about. So like in 2007, you would have remembered infra was the hot topic at that point in time.
Yes.
And there was a gold phase and there was a pharma phase. If you had done all this, I'll just give you the statistic. Your total return was 9%. Okay. If you had just bought the top 50 companies of India blindly, like a fool, your return was 11%. So I just want to tell youngsters that this exercise of कभी ये try करते हैं, फिर कभी ये try करते हैं, फिर कभी ये कर try. We love this thing of taking a lot of action. That we must constantly be doing something. We must constantly be changing. We must constantly be looking. And we also feel that we are very intelligent. That we are the first who can.
They're foodies, right? They're foodies. They're foodies. They want to change their recipe. They want to change their food every day, dishes every day in the morning, afternoon. So they want to see that kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, but the funny thing is, what suits your stomach is dal chawal, because generations eating dal chawal.
Rajma chawal, Punjabi.
Rajma chawal. Whichever part of the country you come from.
So the FD is the Rajma chawal of financial instruments.
So I think your dal chawal of financial instruments is your basic Nifty or top 200 equity fund and
Right.
your FD or safe debt instrument. I think those are your dal chawal, and you need to do dal chawal. 80%
Dal chawal, Radhika, dal chawal you are taking, which is the cheapest dish in the Indian continent, and the companies you are recommending that most expensive. There's a contradiction there. The top 200, top 50 medal, I'll get 10 shares for 50,000.
Right. What will I do?
So
here?
dal chawal, I get 50 rupees. So there is some contradiction because you are asking me to invest some money in a stock chain. Where if a middle class person doesn't have 50,000 to spare for 5 share or 20 share or 100 share. For example, Reliance had issued this rights issue now. You know at what price they are selling it? 1,200 rupees.
God.
Earlier they gave free 1-to-1 ratio. Now this time they also started making money on rights issue as well.
So, Prabhu, I'll give you a contra answer to this. That's why you have mutual funds. 1,000 rupees, actually, for 500 rupees, you can buy 50 companies in as little as 500 rupees. And again, you can buy bonds of all PSUs in as little as 1,000 rupees. So, हम लोग 50 रुपए तक नहीं आए हैं, but 500 तक we have made it.
On the 500, I will make for 10 rupees, na?
No, I'm saying on 500, access to the best.
Even if 10%, I'll make 500, no? Because you're saying performance of the stock, because our stock market is so convoluted that richer stock exchange stocks are out of reach of an ordinary person. Only they expand. Either the banks invest or you are there to the mutual fund. You invest in those big Reliance shares. Everybody bought it. They will buy it. For example, yesterday Airtel sold but they got 8,000 rupees in one day. 8,000 rupees. Retail people did not buy it. It was price replacement. So obviously some RNIs or whatever you call they want to, what rich people bought it. So what I am trying to say, why can't you make stocks or mutual fund more remunerative for the middle class? Their requirements very low.
So I think, there's a lot of cynicism, Prabhu. I don't know why it is about the markets. But I think if you look at it, in 1,000 rupees, and the fee you pay a mutual fund manager today, 1,000 rupees, the fees you pay us 1% in fees. That's 10 rupees in fees. For paying me 10 rupees in fees, I'm giving you access to 200 companies in India. And if you've held them for 20 years, you probably made 15%. And I'm confident that the
Yeah, Kaveri.
Are we going to have to learn to live with less? Will we have to be more frugal now? In a way, as you were saying in one of your talks earlier, will we have to go back to being our mothers?
Always, that's a good reference. I think, there are times, and I have to say, COVID for young people is probably the first time that they are learning to live with less, because we live in a society. I think I went through 2008 in my career. I'll give you a very silly example. I think markets go through ups and downs, and we as individuals have to live with that. So this example is going to sound very silly, but I'll still give it. In 2005, 6 and 7, when I worked on Wall Street, we had the nicest teas and coffees in our office. Okay. If an analyst wanted some green tea from Japan, उसको खुश करने के लिए वो green tea आ जाती थी. 2008, times got very tough, so we had one small coffee that was very basic. And 2005, 6 and 7, the company used to reimburse our car ride to go home. In 2008, they didn't even reimburse the train pass. This is reality. And I think economies, jobs, careers go through this up and down. Now, the problem is for people who are seeing it for the first time, they feel like, what has happened to me?
Yeah.
That is why it's important to calibrate your lifestyle and also to calibrate your savings, because there are some times when you will need to dip into the contingency.
Yeah.
And there are some times when you will build the contingency fund.
Yeah.
This is another question which I got, Radhika. Sorry, I'm repeating. The question which I got. Most middle class people are working from home. Can this be turned into a new saving opportunity, or will it be the opposite?
Actually, I think that's very interesting. I think a lot of companies, Prabhu, are thinking about work from home as a part-time or almost permanent solution.
Right.
And a lot of people are very happy working from home. There are challenges, you have young kids at home, you don't have help. But if you configure it, we are also thinking about this, some amount of work from home, because people are very happy not to spend those 2-3 hours on the road. I mean, commuting in our cities is not a joy. It also is a tremendous cost saving. I ask you to do one analysis. April and May were a full month of lockdown. Please calculate. My husband and I did this. Your expenses in April and May. This is what you need to do.
Yes. I looked at my credit card expenses. My credit expenses for the month of April and May, the lowest in my lifetime.
Yeah.
That's what you need to live.
Not that I could spend, but I couldn't go out. That was the only reason.
So you didn't spend on restaurants, you didn't spend on disposables, you didn't
Absolutely.
spend on big purchases. So at least this teaches you that, and I think it is a
Radhika, there is danger in this. I have now understood that I can live with less.
Yeah.
So I will spend less now. Because things which I used to spend earlier, I won't spend now, even if I've got the same money.
In a way, that's good, isn't it, Mr. Chawla? We're all learning to be more frugal and wiser with our money, no?
Yeah. And we're learning to save a little more, and we're learning what is, even for offices, we're learning what is excess and what is not excess, right? And we're also using technology to be a lot more efficient. We are not spending petrol to commute 1 hour to have coffee with someone. We are talking to them over Zoom, and it works.
Yes. A lot of things, that travel costs will go down, hotel costs will go down, everything will go down.
So,
There is a question, Radhika, there is a question from my business editor. He says, the government has come up with monetarium plans for most loans. Is it a good idea to take them, means loans, or do you think accepting a moratorium is a costlier option?
Okay, so you must understand and I won't explain it entirely on this show, but you must understand that a moratorium is not a costless exercise. My simple advice is, if you can pay the loan, please pay the loan on time. I have home loans too. If you can pay the home loan, please pay it on time, because otherwise you will end up paying more in interest
I agree. Yeah.
with the math of the moratorium. So don't just say, I have got a moratorium, I'm going to chill for 6 months.
So this is not a package, that means this is not a good package which government has
No,
announced.
this is just a cash flow management issue for people who genuinely cannot afford it.
Radhika, if you had a piece of advice for Nirmala Sitharaman, what would it be?
Oh God, you're going to get me into trouble. One is, I think, what Prabhu said, focus on putting money in people's hands
Right.
in a very simple way. So I think the net metric is focus on simple things that solve the core problems. The problems we have are very core. Demand, lack of liquidity. Just focus on doing 2-3 things to solve these problems. You don't need a list of 5 announcements of tons of measures. You need to solve a few problems, and you need to solve them completely. And whatever you do, see completely through execution. In India, ideas are very important, but execution is very, very important. So that would be my advice. Do a few.
How do you give liquidity in the hands of people? I want to spend. Yesterday I asked Mr. Gadkari. He also gave some examples, but nobody giving us a clear, okay,
Yeah.
like Trump has done it, like Boris Johnson has done it. Do you think that model should be followed in India?
I think India is more restricted in terms of our financial conditions, but something can we do, some start can we do to give. Right now, what we have seen, Prabhu, is a lot of metrics that say, take a loan from this and take a loan for this. If I can say this in Hindi, there's a piece of poetry that says कि उम्र भर गालिब एक ही भूल करता रहा, उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी और आईना साफ करता रहा.
Beautifully put.
तो हम आईना साफ कर रहे हैं, वो चेहरा वही का वही गंदा का गंदा है.
आपको प्रॉब्लम सही सॉल्व करनी है, आपको डिमांड की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करनी है, आपको लोन देने की प्रॉब्लम. And I realize India has very different constraints. It's a very, very important thing to keep in mind. But you'll have to think out of the box. The traditional measures will not work. I think 1991 is a great example of what India can do if we really get it right.
But how, are there any specific instruments with which you can put money into people's hands? Are you talking about a direct transfer? Are you talking about a universal basic income? What would you think it is?
I think there are people far more qualified, but I think the US market and the UK market are prime examples about how people are putting money in the hands of not just people, but also businesses.
Right.
So for instance, I think in Germany, I think Rajiv Bajaj said this, people are actually helping corporates pay salaries.
Right.
That's also putting money in the hands of business and ultimately putting
Radhika, those who are making suggestions, they are all in America. They are Indians, but they are in America.
But Mr. Chawla, Radhika spent so much time in America, but I think she's more Indian than.
She's a desi girl with a broken neck, but a very good mind.
Yes. Radhika, it was a real pleasure to talk to you. And as I said before to all our viewers, please do listen to her other talk as well. And please follow her advice. I think she's given wonderful advice today. If I were starting out in my career, I would definitely follow it. And
Bharat Bond 2. Invest in Bharat Bond 2.
Yes. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Radhika. It was a pleasure.
Lovely talking to you as always.
Thank you.
Thank you.